Ambassador Coral's communication specialist frantically worked the control panel, attempting to establish a proper first contact protocol. The human vessels maintained their precise formation, every movement coordinated with military precision that seemed impossible for a species that had developed in isolation. "We mean no harm." Soral broadcast on all frequencies. "We represent the Stellar Alliance, a peaceful coalition of 17 spacefaring civilizations." Inside the command center of the EDF Indomitable, Commander Chen studied the alien vessel's specifications, scrolling across her tactical display. The ship possessed no apparent weapon systems, minimal defensive capabilities, and broadcast its internal layout on standard frequencies, nearly incomprehensible vulnerabilities to a military officer. "Their hull composition is unlike anything in our database," reported Lieutenant Kano, the ship's science officer. "Energy readings suggest propulsion technology centuries beyond our current capabilities." Chen nodded. "Yet they approach an unknown civilization without basic defensive measures. Either they're incredibly naive, or this is some kind of trap." The standoff continued for 23 tense minutes before Earth's Security Council authorized direct communication. The alien visage that appeared on the main view screen startled the bridge crew. Toral's 4 blinking eyes and blue-tinged skin were humanity's first confirmation they weren't alone in the universe. "We welcome you to Earth space," Chen responded formally. "However, your unannounced arrival has activated our defense protocols. We request information on your intentions." The alien diplomat seemed taken aback by her directness. "We came to welcome you to the galactic community. Our observers noted your recent deployment of fusion-powered probes beyond your solar system. This typically indicates a civilization ready for first contact." Chen exchanged glances with her executive officer. Those probes were military reconnaissance platforms disguised as scientific instruments, supposedly undetectable to any known scanning technology. "You've been monitoring our space program?" she asked carefully. "Of course," Soral replied with unsettling casualness. "We monitor all developing worlds within our expansion zone. Most species appreciate our guidance during their early spacefaring phase." The implications weren't lost on Chen. These aliens have been watching Earth, perhaps for decades, without humanity's knowledge. More concerning was their apparent surprise at finding an established defensive force. What had they expected to find? A helpless civilization ready to be guided or controlled. "Ambassador Coral," Chen said, choosing her words deliberately, "Earth would be pleased to establish diplomatic relations with your alliance. With proper authorization, we can arrange for your vessel to dock at our lunar facility." Lunar facility. The alien's expression shifted to what might have been surprise. "Your species has already established off-world colonies. The International Moon Base has been operational for 15 years, Chen replied, noting the reaction. "It serves as our primary diplomatic and scientific outpost." As arrangements were made, Chen sent a priority message to Earth Command. First contact established. Aliens appear peaceful but underestimated our capabilities significantly. Recommend heightened alert status maintained during negotiations. She watched the alien vessel maneuver toward the moon, flanked by 2 Earth destroyers. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations, not just the possibility of meeting alien life, but the potential threats such an encounter might bring. As the Indomitable adjusted course to follow the diplomatic procession, Chen couldn't shake a single thought. Earth had expected first contact to be dangerous, but perhaps not for the reasons they had imagined. The aliens weren't hostile. They were overconfident, and in Commander Chen's experience, overconfidence often proved more dangerous than outright aggression. The observation deck of the International Moon Base offered an expansive view of Earth hanging like a blue jewel against the void. Ambassador Coral stood transfixed by the sight, his 4 eyes blinking in their distinctive rhythmic pattern. "Your world is beautiful," he said to Commander Chen. "Most life-bearing planets we encounter show significant atmospheric damage by the time they develop spaceflight." Chen nodded, noting how the alien diplomatic team kept glancing at the Earth defense vessels, maintaining their vigilant patrol outside. Environmental preservation has been a priority for our governments for several generations. What she didn't mention was that Earth's unified climate restoration had been driven largely by military necessity. Nations had finally cooperated when defense analysts concluded that ecological collapse would leave humanity vulnerable to external threats, a conclusion that now seemed remarkably prescient. Lieutenant Rodriguez approached with a data tablet. "Commander, the aliens' technical specifications have been analyzed. You'll want to see this." Chen examined the report, her expression carefully neutral despite the surprising information. The Stellar Alliance vessel utilized propulsion systems that manipulated gravitational fields rather than conventional thrust. Their communication technology operated on principles Earth scientists had only recently begun to theorize. Yet their defensive capabilities seemed almost deliberately neglected. "Your ship possesses remarkable technology," Chen commented, "but your defensive systems seem minimal." Sorrel's skin rippled in what might have been the equivalent of a shrug. "The Alliance hasn't faced armed conflict in over 7 centuries. Our resources focus on exploration and cultural exchange." 7 centuries without conflict. General Winters asked from across the room, making no effort to hide her skepticism. "How is that possible with 17 different species?" "Unified purpose," Sorrel explained. "When civilizations understand that cooperation advances all, competition becomes unnecessary." Chen noticed how the alien diplomat sidestepped the question's implication. No mention of external threats or how the Alliance would respond to an aggressive species. The omission felt deliberate. The meeting transitioned to the command center, where Alliance representatives were permitted a carefully controlled demonstration of Earth's defense capabilities. Tactical simulations showed human warships executing complex maneuvers, vessels working in coordinated wolf packs to neutralize threats, layered defensive screens adapting to incoming attacks, and electronic countermeasures designed to confuse enemy targeting systems. Sorrel's scientific advisor, a tall, thin being named Vrel, watched with growing discomfort. "These simulations," he asked finally, "they represent theoretical conflicts?" "No," Chen replied. "These are standard training exercises. Every ship in our fleet regularly practices these scenarios." "But against whom?" Vrel persisted. "You've had no contact with other civilizations before us." "Against ourselves," General Winters stated flatly. "Humanity's history includes conflict. We've learned from it." The alien delegation exchanged concerned glances. This clearly wasn't proceeding as they had anticipated. Their cultural briefings hadn't prepared them for a species that developed sophisticated space warfare doctrine before encountering any external enemies. When the demonstration concluded, Sorrel requested a private communication with his ship. Chen authorized it but instructed security to monitor all transmissions. Within minutes, analysts reported encrypted data packets being sent to locations far beyond the solar system. "They're reporting back to their superiors," Rodriguez noted. "Much more data than standard diplomatic updates would require." Chen studied the latest intelligence assessment. Earth's long-range sensors had detected increased activity at the edge of the system. Subtle gravitational distortions that suggested vessels using similar technology to the Alliance ship, but maintaining stealth protocols. "They didn't come alone," she concluded. "Whatever the Alliance expected to find here, our warships weren't it. And now they're reassessing their approach." The diplomatic dance continued, but beneath the polite exchanges, both sides were preparing for scenarios neither had anticipated. Earth had expected first contact might bring danger, while the Alliance had expected compliance. Both had miscalculated, and the consequences of this mutual misunderstanding remained to be seen. The Alliance vessel's engineering section hummed with technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics as humanity understood them. Commander Chen ran her hand just above a pulsing conduit, feeling the strange distortion of energy without fully comprehending its source. "This power core," she said to the Alliance engineer guiding the tour, "it doesn't match any energy production method in our theoretical models." The engineer, A six-limbed being named Kethri hesitated before answering. It draws energy directly from subspace. Most civilizations discover the principles shortly after achieving faster-than-light travel. Chen exchanged glances with Dr. Reyes, whose expression reflected her own skepticism. Earth scientists had developed multiple theories about faster-than-light travel, but none had proposed the particular approach evident in the alien vessel. "Your technological development is unusual," Kethri continued. "Advanced military systems, but comparatively primitive energy production. It suggests an atypical evolutionary path." "We developed based on our needs," Chen replied carefully. "Earth's history shaped our priorities." The tour continued through medical facilities where injured tissue could be regenerated within hours, hydroponic systems that produced food tailored to any species' nutritional requirements, and communication arrays capable of instantaneous contact across vast distances. Yet throughout every section, Chen noticed the same pattern: remarkable advancement in comfort, efficiency, and scientific exploration, with minimal investment in defense or security. When they reached the bridge, Ambassador Xorl was waiting with the ship's commander, a stoic figure introduced simply as Navigator Jen. Unlike the other aliens, Jen studied the human delegation with undisguised wariness. "Your species developed independently," Jen stated without preamble. "No guidance, no technological sharing, no cultural oversight. Yet you achieved spaceflight and built a military fleet. This is unprecedented in Alliance records." "Is independent development so unusual?" Chen asked. "It is," Sorrel confirmed. "Most species are discovered earlier in their development. We provide technologies that help them avoid the messier aspects of technological evolution." The implication wasn't subtle. The Alliance preferred to find civilizations before they developed military capabilities, guiding them toward a model that matched Alliance values. Earth had somehow slipped through this net, developing without interference until it was too late for easy assimilation. Dr. Reyes, who had been examining a data terminal with permission from their hosts, suddenly stiffened. Chen recognized his body language immediately. He'd found something significant, but didn't want to alert their hosts. "Commander," he said with practiced casualness, "the translation matrix is showing some interesting linguistic patterns. May I have permission to copy selected terminology for further study?" Chen nodded, understanding his real message. "Granted, Doctor." "Ambassador Xorl, would this be acceptable?" While the aliens discussed the request, Reyes discreetly positioned his tablet so Chen could glimpse the screen. A historical file had been left accessible, perhaps deliberately, perhaps through oversight. The fragment visible contained a reference to containment protocols for autonomous military developments and integration or isolation requirements for non-compliant civilizations. Chen's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced. The Alliance wasn't merely a peaceful coalition. It was an organization that actively prevented member worlds from developing independent military capability. Earth's defense fleet wasn't just unexpected. It represented everything their policies were designed to prevent. As they departed the alien vessel hours later, Lieutenant Rodriguez joined them in the shuttle. "Commander," she said quietly, "long-range telemetry has confirmed unusual gravitational distortions at the system's edge. At least 7 distinct signatures, consistent with vessels using technology similar to the Alliance ship." Chen nodded grimly. "They're not alone, and they're not being honest about their intentions. Inform Earth Command we're at condition yellow. All leave is canceled, and I want defense platforms at full readiness." The diplomatic dance was revealing its true nature, not a welcoming embrace between equals, but a careful assessment of a potential problem. And Chen couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's warships represented a complication the Alliance had never before encountered in their careful management of galactic civilization. Earth's Security Council convened in their underground chamber beneath Geneva. The room hummed with tension as Admiral Winters presented the latest intelligence. 3-dimensional projections showed the positions of the 7 confirmed alien vessels maintaining their distance at the edge of the solar system. They're arranged in a containment pattern, she explained, highlighting their formation. Standard military doctrine for preventing escape while minimizing detection. The question is whether they're containing us, or something else. President Kawamura studied the display, her expression grave. Commander Chen, your assessment of Alliance intentions. Chen stood, selecting her words carefully. Their diplomatic overtures appeared genuine, but incomplete. They've withheld critical information about galactic politics and history. Every indication suggests they expected to find a pre-spaceflight civilization they could guide into their coalition on their terms. Instead, they found us, General Santos remarked dryly. With a fleet designed explicitly for combat in a civilization that apparently abandoned warfare centuries ago. The security director slid a data tablet forward. Our analysis of the communications Dr. Rice intercepted confirms our suspicions. The Alliance operates on a hierarchy of technological access. Military technology is carefully controlled, with most member worlds deliberately kept dependent on Alliance protection. Chen nodded. This explains their reaction to our defense fleet. We represent an anomaly in their system. A civilization that developed military capability without oversight. As the Council debated response options, a priority alert flashed across the command screens. A new vessel had entered the system, its design markedly different from the Alliance ship. While the Alliance craft emphasized sleek elegance, this ship bristled with obvious weapon emplacements and defensive arrays. Incoming transmission, announced the communications officer. They're requesting direct contact with Earth's military leadership. The Council exchanged glances before President Kawamura authorized the connection. The view screen illuminated with the image of a scared reptilian being in what was clearly a military uniform. I am General Krax of the Vanguard Collective, the alien announced without preamble. Your world is in danger, not from us, but from the deception of the Alliance. Admiral Winters leaned forward. Explain yourself, General. The Alliance presents itself as a peaceful coalition, but it is an empire in all but name, Krax replied. They absorb developing worlds before they can defend themselves, integrating them into their economic and political system as dependent partners, never equals. And the Vanguard? Chen asked. We separated from the Alliance 3 centuries ago, refusing to abandon our military traditions and independence. They label us renegades while hiding the truth from their member worlds. His expression shifted to what might have been respect. Your species interests us greatly. Independent development of space warfare capability is rare, precisely because the Alliance prevents it whenever possible. President Kawamura maintained her composure. You claim the Alliance has hostile intentions toward Earth. Not hostile in the way you imagine, Krax corrected. They will offer technological wonders, medical advances, and cultural exchange. In return, they will insist on security cooperation that gradually dismantles your independent military capacity. Within a generation, Earth would be as dependent on Alliance protection as all their other worlds. As if on cue, another alert sounded. The Alliance diplomatic vessel was requesting an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. Interesting timing, Dr. Rice murmured, examining new data flowing across his screen. They've detected the Vanguard ship and accelerated their timetable. Chen studied the tactical display, where the previously hidden Alliance vessels at the system's edge had begun to move. They're abandoning their concealment. Whatever their original plan was, they're adapting to the Vanguard's intervention. President Kawamura straightened, her decision made. Admiral Winters, bring our forces to full combat readiness. Commander Chen, you'll meet with both the Alliance and Vanguard representatives, separately. I want to hear what each says when the other isn't present. As the Council dispersed to their duties, Chen found herself contemplating the irony. Humanity had prepared for first contact fearing alien aggression, only to find themselves caught in a complex political struggle between alien factions. Earth's warships hadn't yet fired a shot, but their mere existence had apparently disrupted centuries of galactic political balance. And somewhere beyond their knowledge, Something else was stirring. The unnamed threat both the Alliance and Vanguard seemed to fear, but neither would discuss openly. The Harvester vessels emerged from lightspeed with military precision, their formation unfolding like a deadly flower blooming in the void. Earth's long-range sensors captured the chilling sight. Massive obsidian ships with irregular, almost organic contours that defied conventional spacecraft design. They moved with strange synchronicity, as though controlled by a single mind. Commander Chen watched from the Indomitable's bridge as tactical displays tracked their approach, timed to intercept with Earth defense perimeter. 4 hours, 17 minutes at current velocity, Lieutenant Rodriguez replied, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. 19 ships confirmed, average mass 3 times our largest cruiser. The Alliance diplomatic vessel had broken orbit around the moon, accelerating toward the edge of the system despite Ambassador Kforel's earlier assurances of support. Their transmission spoke of seeking reinforcements, but Chen recognized a retreat when she saw one. Status of the Vanguard vessel, Chen asked. Maintaining position near Jupiter's orbit. They're scanning the harvesters but showing no signs of withdrawal. Rodriguez hesitated. Commander, they're transmitting tactical data on harvester capabilities. Shield frequencies, weapon configurations, engine signatures. Chen nodded. At least one of the alien factions was proving trustworthy in the face of danger. The Vanguard might have their own agenda, but they weren't abandoning Earth to face this threat alone. Admiral Winters appeared on the command screen, her expression grim but determined. All vessels deploy to defensive positions. Battle plan Thermopylae is authorized. Understood, Admiral. Chen turned to her crew. Initiate pre-combat protocols. I want all weapon systems at full readiness and electronic warfare suites at maximum capacity. As Earth's fleet moved into formation, General Krax's voice came through on a secure channel. Commander Chen, your defensive strategy is impressive, but conventional approaches will fail against the harvesters. They operate as a collective consciousness. Each ship functions as part of a unified whole. Recommendations, General? Chen asked, pragmatism overriding any lingering suspicion. Unpredictability. Their greatest weakness is their inability to rapidly adapt to chaotic battle conditions. Their collective decision-making falters when presented with multiple conflicting threats simultaneously. Chen processed this information against Earth's military doctrine. Coordinated chaos. It was a strategy humans had perfected through centuries of warfare against themselves. Thank you, General. We'll incorporate this into our approach. The hours passed with tense preparation. Earth's population watched the approaching threat on public broadcasts, a collective breath held as humanity faced its first extraterrestrial danger. The harvester ships showed no interest in communication, responding to hails with silence as they maintained their direct course toward Earth. They're accelerating, Rodriguez reported suddenly. New intercept time. 53 minutes. Chen issued rapid commands as the fleet adjusted its positioning. The Indomitable and her battle group took the vanguard position, with specialized electronic warfare vessels concealed behind Earth's moon. All ships, initiate synchronized clock, Chen ordered. Weapons free on my mark, not before. The harvester fleet seemed to hesitate as they approached the outer defense perimeter, perhaps surprised to find organized resistance. Their formation shifted, concentrating firepower toward the center of Earth's line. They're adapting to our visible formation, Chen observed. Exactly as predicted. Rodriguez looked up from her console, eyes wide. Energy spike. They're charging weapons across all vessels. Execute Phase 1, Chen commanded. Earth's fleet suddenly scattered in a maneuver that appeared chaotic, but followed precisely timed protocols. As the harvesters adjusted targeting, Earth's electronic warfare platforms activated simultaneously, flooding space with contradictory sensor data and false ship signatures. Nuclear mines deployed days earlier detonated in sequence, creating radiation clouds that obscured sensors. The harvesters fired, massive energy beams cutting through space where Earth vessels had been moments before, finding only empty void or holographic decoys. Phase 2, Chen ordered, her voice calm as though overseeing a training exercise rather than humanity's first interstellar battle. Earth's scattered ships suddenly converged from multiple vectors, targeting the lead harvester vessels with synchronized missile salvos. The aliens' point defense systems struggled against the sheer volume of incoming fire, designed to overwhelm through quantity rather than individual power. The first harvester ship erupted in a cascade of explosions as human missiles found their mark. A collective cheer rose from the Indomitable's crew, silenced by Chen's raised hand. "This is just the beginning," she reminded them. "Prepare for their countermove." As if on cue, the remaining harvester vessels adjusted their formation, abandoning their elegant pattern for a more aggressive stance. Whatever intelligence guided them had recognized that this would not be the easy harvest they had anticipated. The real battle for Earth's survival had only just begun. The battle entered its third day with no sign of resolution. The Indomitable limped through an asteroid field, its port side blackened from a direct hit that had breached 2 decks. Emergency force fields contained the damage, but Commander Chen knew they couldn't sustain another such impact. "Reactor status?" she asked, wiping blood from a cut above her eye. Holding at 63%, Rodriguez reported from her emergency station. "We've rerouted power through secondary conduits, but the main coupling is failing. 8 hours at combat capacity, maybe less if we need to make another emergency jump." Around them, Earth's remaining vessels continued their guerrilla tactics against the technologically superior harvesters. What the humans lacked in raw power, they compensated for with tactical innovation. Each Earth ship captain had been granted unprecedented autonomy, creating a constantly shifting battle pattern that the collective harvester consciousness struggled to counter. Beijing Squadron reports successful hit-and-run on Harvester Command Ship, Communications Officer Park announced. "Minor damage to target, but they've drawn off 3 escort vessels." Chen nodded. The strategy was working. Divide the Harvester fleet, prevent them from concentrating their overwhelming firepower. But Earth's ships were running low on munitions, and battle damage accumulated faster than repair crews could address it. "Status of the Vanguard vessel?" Chen asked. "Still engaged with 2 Harvester-heavy cruisers near Jupiter's outer moons," Rodriguez responded. "Their shield technology is impressive. They've sustained direct hits that would have vaporized our ships." The tactical display updated, showing 3 Harvester vessels breaking away from the main group, accelerating directly toward Earth. Without sufficient defenders in their path, they would reach the planet in hours. "They've identified our strategy," Chen realized. "They're willing to sacrifice ships to our harassment attacks while a dedicated strike force targets Earth directly." She studied their remaining options. The Indomitable could intercept, but not alone, and pulling other ships from their current engagements would allow the remaining harvesters to regroup. "Commander," Park called out suddenly. "Incoming transmission from Lunar Command." Multiple unknown signatures entering the system. The tactical display transformed as new contacts appeared, sleek vessels unlike either Alliance or Vanguard design, moving with incredible speed toward the battle zone. "Harvester reinforcements?" Chen asked grimly. Before anyone could answer, an unfamiliar voice came through the communication system. "Earth Defense Force. This is Admiral Zenter of the Free Worlds Coalition. We monitored your distress signals. The Alliance attempted to prevent our intervention, but it seems you could use assistance." Chen exchanged surprised glances with her officers. Another galactic faction they hadn't been told about. "We accept any assistance you can provide, Admiral Zenter," she responded. "We have harvester vessels approaching Earth with minimal defenses in their path." "Understood, Commander. Our vessels are equipped with gravity disruption technology effective against harvester drives. We'll intercept the Earthbound group. Continue your containment strategy against their main force." The view screen showed the new arrivals engaging the harvesters with startling efficiency. Unlike the Alliance ships, these vessels were clearly designed for combat, with weapon systems that disabled rather than destroyed. Technology focused on neutralizing threats without unnecessary destruction. General Krax's voice joined the communication channel. The Free Worlds Coalition represents planets that broke away from Alliance control decades before the Vanguard. They maintain independence through defensive technology rather than offensive capability. The Alliance considers them dangerous idealists. You might have mentioned them earlier, Chen remarked dryly. Politics makes for complex alliances, Commander, Krax replied. But when faced with harvesters, old rivalries become irrelevant. The Coalition has joined our fight because they recognize what's at stake: the right of all species to defend themselves rather than depend on Alliance protection that fails when most needed. The tactical display updated again as the Coalition vessels drove back the Harvester strike force approaching Earth. Their gravity weapons disrupted the aliens' propulsion systems, leaving them adrift and vulnerable to precision strikes from Earth's remaining missiles. For the first time since the battle began, Chen allowed herself a moment of hope. Earth's warships had proven their worth not just through firepower, but through adaptability that had kept the Harvesters off balance long enough for help to arrive. 3 different galactic factions now fought alongside humanity against a common threat: a coalition forged in the crucible of fire. All Earth vessels, she broadcast, adjust formation to support coalition attack vectors. Focus fire on disabled targets. Today we prove that Earth doesn't stand alone. As the Indomitable's engines roared back to full power, Chen realized that humanity's introduction to the galactic community had come in the form they understood best, through battle, where actions spoke louder than diplomatic words ever could. The captured Harvester command ship drifted in high Earth orbit, surrounded by a defensive perimeter of human vessels and coalition specialists. Its obsidian surface absorbed light rather than reflected it, giving the massive vessel the appearance of a void against the stars. Inside its cavernous main chamber, Dr. Rice led a joint scientific team through corridors that seemed more grown than constructed. Their technology operates on principles we're only beginning to understand, he explained to Commander Chen as they examined the ship's central control nexus. It's not just mechanically advanced, it's biotechnologically integrated. The ship itself is partially organic. Chen studied the strange, pulsing surfaces that responded to proximity. Living technology. More like a hybrid, clarified a coalition scientist named Telix. The Harvesters bind synthetic materials with biological components to create systems that can heal, adapt, and evolve. This ship has been operating for what our scans suggest is over 3 centuries. The most disturbing discovery came in what appeared to be the ship's data center. Vast storage systems contain detailed information on hundreds of worlds, species, and civilizations, some thriving, others marked with cold efficiency as harvested or processed. They've been systematically cataloging sentient species throughout this region of the galaxy, Dr. Rice reported during the Emergency Council meeting on the lunar base. Earth was designated as assessment target rather than immediate harvest. We weren't their primary objective. Then what was? Admiral Winters demanded. A Vanguard tactical officer activated a holographic display. Based on their navigation records, they were conducting preliminary operations before a much larger fleet arrival. This was merely a scouting force. General Krax nodded grimly. The Harvesters operate in cycles. They send advanced teams to evaluate resistance levels and identify high-value targets. The data they collected would have informed a full-scale invasion. Coalition Admiral Zenter stepped forward. Their collective consciousness is what makes them so dangerous and potentially vulnerable. Each ship functions as part of a unified intelligence network. When we disrupted that network through Earth's unpredictable tactics, individual vessels lost efficiency. The implications weren't lost on anyone present. Earth's warships, with their emphasis on tactical flexibility and individual command initiative, had inadvertently exploited the Harvester's greatest weakness. While Alliance and even Vanguard vessels relied on coordinated battle plans and centralized command, human captains were trained to adapt independently when communications failed. The Alliance knew about this threat, Chen stated, reviewing captured Harvester data. These harvest cycles have occurred before. Yet they deliberately discourage independent military development among their member worlds. Military dependency ensures political control, General Krax explained. The Alliance Central Council maintains power by providing protection while preventing member worlds from developing their own defensive capabilities. Admiral Zenter's expression hardened. The Coalition separated from the Alliance when we discovered this policy. We believe all worlds have the right to defend themselves. Which brings us to our current situation, Admiral Winters interjected. The Harvester main fleet is still coming. According to these records, we have approximately 2 months before their arrival. How do we prepare? What followed was unprecedented in human history. A joint military planning session involving 4 distinct species working toward a common defense. Earth provided its military academies as training centers, where human tactical doctrine was shared with Coalition and Vanguard officers. In return, alien engineers worked alongside human technicians to integrate advanced defensive technologies into Earth's fleet. Commander Chen, promoted to admiral following the first battle, oversaw the integration of the various forces. The Indomitable became the testbed for hybrid systems, human tactical systems combined with Coalition gravity weapons and Vanguard shield technology. The Harvesters won't expect this level of cooperation, Chen observed as she watched the combined fleet exercises from the Lunar Command Center. Their historical data shows they've always faced divided resistance. Dr. Reyes nodded, studying the latest analysis of the Harvester biological systems. They've evolved to counter predictable responses. Their collective intelligence excels at processing standard military doctrine and developing countermeasures. But they've never encountered humans before, Admiral Zentar added. Your species' capacity for adaptive thinking under pressure is remarkable, almost as though your history of internal conflict prepared you specifically to face them. Chen watched as the training exercises concluded, vessels from 4 different civilizations maneuvering in formations that would have been impossible weeks earlier. Earth had entered the galactic stage through fire and blood, but perhaps that crucible had forged exactly the weapon needed against an enemy that harvested worlds with cold, calculating efficiency. The countdown to the Harvester main fleet's arrival continued, but each day strengthened the unprecedented alliance. Earth's warships, once viewed with alarm by peaceful civilizations, now formed the tactical backbone of the galaxy's best hope for survival. The combined fleet assembled near the Arcturus Junction, 300 vessels arranged in a formation that appeared chaotic to the untrained eye, but followed precise tactical principles developed by Earth's naval strategists. At its center, the refitted Earth flagship Indomitable served as the command vessel, its hull now reinforced with Vanguard alloys and equipped with Coalition gravity manipulation technology. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge, surveying the tactical display showing ships from 4 different civilizations positioned according to her battle plan. 2 months of intensive preparation had transformed this disparate collection of vessels into a cohesive fighting force. Whether it would be enough remained to be seen. Long-range sensors detecting distortion patterns consistent with Harvester propulsion signatures, reported Captain Rodriguez from her science station. Multiple contacts, reading over 500 distinct vessels emerging from hyperspace. The bridge crew maintained their composure as the massive Harvester armada materialized before them, a perfect geometric arrangement of obsidian ships that seemed to drink in the starlight. The main fleet dwarfed the scouting force Earth had faced earlier, with multiple command vessels coordinating smaller attack craft in precise, mathematically perfect formations. They're scanning us, Rodriguez continued. Their formation is adjusting. I believe they're analyzing our capabilities. Good, Chen replied. Let them see our strength. Execute Phase 1. Throughout the combined fleet, specialized communication vessels activated enhanced broadcasting arrays. Technology developed jointly by human and coalition engineers. The arrays projected falsified sensor readings and phantom ship signatures, creating the impression of a defending force nearly 3 times its actual size. On the tactical display, Shen watched as the perfect Harvester formation hesitated, individual ships adjusting position as their collective consciousness struggled to process the contradictory data. The mathematical precision of their arrangement wavered slightly, exactly as planned. Their coordination is destabilizing. General Cracks reported from his vessel. The Phantom signatures are confusing their collective awareness. Execute Phase 2, Chen ordered without hesitation. Vanguard vessels launched specialized disruptor torpedoes, developed based on data recovered from the captured harvester ship. The weapons targeted the unique frequency harvesters used for their collective communication, creating increasing interference in their neural network. The harvester fleet's response became visibly erratic, with sections responding differently to the same tactical situation. Some vessels advanced aggressively, while others maintained defensive positions, their unified strategy fracturing under the electronic assault. "They're launching fighters," Rodriguez announced. "Multiple waves, different attack vectors." As expected, Chen responded. "All ships implement tactical autonomy protocols." This was the heart of Earth's contribution to the battle plan, the concept that confused the Alliance but came naturally to human military thinking. Rather than responding with a unified counter-strategy that the harvesters could eventually adapt to, each ship commander executed different tactical responses simultaneously. Some engaged directly, others performed evasive maneuvers, while specialized units concentrated on electronic warfare. The result was controlled chaos that overwhelmed the harvesters' ability to form consensus decisions. Their collective intelligence, evolved to counter predictable responses, faced an enemy that refused to behave according to any recognizable pattern. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. "We've identified their central coordination node, the ship 3/4 back in their formation, surrounded by defensive escorts." Chen studied the tactical display, noting the subtle differences in the vessel's energy signature. "That's their equivalent of a brain. All ships continue autonomous operations. Indomitable strike group with me." The Earth flagship and its escort wing accelerated forward, supported by coalition vessels equipped with specialized shielding. They punched through the fragmenting harvester formation, taking damage but maintaining their trajectory toward the identified command ship. "Prepare the pulse weapon," Chen ordered as they closed distance. The device represented the pinnacle of the combined species' engineering efforts, an electromagnetic pulse generator modified based on knowledge of harvester biology, designed to sever their collective consciousness without destroying the ships themselves. Harvester vessels closed in around them, recognizing the threat too late. Coalition gravity weapons cleared a path while Earth and Vanguard ships provided covering fire. The Indomitable sustained multiple direct hits, systems failing across the ship, but maintained its course toward the target. "Weapon range achieved," Rodriguez reported through the smoke filling the bridge. "Power at maximum charge." Chen took one final look at the tactical display, where hundreds of ships from 4 previously separate civilizations fought as one force. Fire. The pulse expanded outward in an invisible wave, passing harmlessly through the Allied ships while striking the harvester vessels with precision. On the tactical display, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfect geometric formation collapsed entirely as ship after ship lost connection to the collective consciousness. Individual harvester vessels, suddenly forced to operate independently without the shared intelligence they relied upon, floundered in confusion. Some continued fighting with diminished effectiveness, while others ceased movement entirely, their crews unable to function without the collective guidance. "It worked," Rodriguez whispered in disbelief. "Their neural network is completely fragmented." In the weeks that followed, the combined fleet methodically neutralized the remaining harvester vessels. Research teams studied captured ships, finally understanding the threat that had loomed over the galaxy for centuries. The knowledge would ensure they could never again employ the same tactics against any world. As representatives from dozens of planets gathered at the newly established Interstellar Defense Academy on Earth's moon, Admiral Chen watched vessels from former enemies training together in Earth orbit. "Did you ever imagine first contact would lead to this?" asked Captain Rodriguez, joining her at the observation window. Chen considered the question, watching as coalition engineers installed new defensive systems on an Earth destroyer, while Vanguard tactical officers conducted joint exercises with human crews. "No," she admitted, "but perhaps our isolation served a purpose after all. We developed differently because we had to, and in doing so, became exactly what the galaxy needed." Below them, Earth continued its rotation, no longer an isolated world, but the center of a new defensive alliance. Its warships, once viewed with alarm by peaceful civilizations, now represented the foundation of a security network that united former adversaries in common purpose. The stars had gained new guardians, forged in Earth's unique crucible of conflict and cooperation. Defenders who understood that peace was worth protecting with all the strength they could muster.